Hello everyone, me and Cubby would like to welcome you to another episode of Nemopack. How are you guys doing today? How's life? If you guys remember, last episode we started hollowing out the overworld, which so far has been paying off really well. Unfortunately, we also need other resources in the nether, so we need more digital miners. Obviously in the nether we don't need to mine out everything, we just need some quartz and some glowstone. So 2 digital miners should be more than enough. One of them is going to get the anchor upgrade so that we make sure that it's always chunk loaded, and of course speed and energy upgrades. As usual, we're also going to mine every single ore, radius of 32, maximum height of 128, silk touch on, auto eject on. And since glowstone itself is not an ore, we just give you a filter. There's actually not that much. Weird, but that should take care of quartz as well as glowstone. But while we're here, maybe I should take some myself. Do you drop pork chops? No, actually I did not mean the pork chops, I meant the ham. It says that it's going to drop it, but I never got it. As far as I understand, we don't actually need a crazy amount of glowstone, we just need a little bit for our applied energistic system, in order to make some of the parts. That's it. Oops. Oh, what is this? It looks kind of nice. I like the banners. So wait a minute, there's no loot? Oh, there's a spawner, pigmen. Nah, it's also only 1 block deep, so I'm slightly confused. What's the purpose? It's okay, we have what we need, let us go back home. Hello again, for the 600th time. Actually, I wasn't that far off, it's 574. Yep, now it's 600. So I'm guessing our second order of business is to take care of the mobs. So there is a mod called Brazzier and it will give you a living flame, and apparently that's a mega torch. And it has a range of 128 blocks. The problem is we kind of need to have a nether star and I don't think we have one. Oh, we do. Okay, I'm not going to complain. Oh, cause I did not make the Saigon. Okay, that explains. Hello? 604. So we just need an alchemy catalyst and we drop you in? Are we good? Yes. Living flame. There's also a way of looting it as well as a mob drop, but I think this was the easiest way for us. I wanted to fix our mob issues first, but we have another urgent problem. Pipes from mechanism are not the best. And here is the result. So we need to fix our ore processing, cause I am getting a lot of ores, we're just not processing it at all. We do not have that many alternatives in this mod pack, so we're going to go with applied energistics. That's the fastest thing I know. Storage bus is an advancement? Okay, we are going to have a very small network in order to process the ores, and I think the input chest that all the ores go inside is going to be our main storage. So the storage bus goes on there. That obviously also requires a controller, which is not a problem. The controller also requires power, and that is also not a problem. And we are obviously going to replace every single cable that we had with mechanism with export buses from applied energistics. It is going to cause a lot of lag, but I really don't have a choice. And in order to set filters, we need some capacity cards, and obviously we do not have the processor. Make me 100. So we give you 2 capacity cards, some acceleration cards, and obviously you're going to export nether quartz. Do you work? Yes, okay. That's good. If this causes too much lag, I'm later on going to replace it with the QIO network. But for the moment, we are going to export everything using export buses, and then we are going to use import buses in order to take it back into our main system. I did fix our machines and our backlog seems to have been solved, so our ore processing is good enough. Anyways, there is one ore that we are not going to process, and that is uranium. That goes into our ME system because we need to quintuple it. So let us get back to Brazzier. In order to assemble it, we need to make a multi-block structure out of certain materials. One of them is actually netherite blocks, which unfortunately we don't have enough. Ancient debris and crying obsidian is also one of them, but unfortunately we also don't have a huge supply of those as well. So we're going to go with Gilded Blackstone, because it's actually a massive structure and we need so many blocks. I really don't know if I should automate this or not, because I'm just dropping items in bulk, and so far it's not that bad. It's just that we're out of lapis. Hey copy, Gilded Blackstone has 2 recipes. One of them is inside the metallurgic infuser and the other one is with gold nuggets. I think a metallurgic infuser should be much more efficient. I hope. Oh, it consumes a lot. That was 2 stacks of compressed gold. It's okay, we can have 4 stacks more. Well, that was 6 stacks. I don't know if it's going to be enough. As I have already mentioned, this is going to be a multi-block structure and we need to make a pattern like this up to 10 blocks high. Well, this is 10 blocks high and each layer that we add to it is going to add 10 blocks to the radius of effect. Meaning that if we craft a brazier and put it on top, the radius should be 100 blocks. Oh, that is ugly. Are you suffocating? Good. I'm enjoying that. Would you like to burn a bit? Nice. Well, it's a good thing that I put it underground because we should be able to cover it. But I'm sure it's not going to affect the plants because I don't think they're considered hostile mobs, but it should get rid of the rest. So do we get any mobs or no? No, we seem to be fine. There are no mobs. That is great. And the question is, how far is 100 blocks? Okay, I'm guessing here. That is not 100 blocks. Also, yes, plants grow next to it. The wiki suggests that if you lit a torch on top of it, it will show you the range. What is the range? I don't know, but it gives you a living torch. Well, I had to cover it, and yes, it does work, it's just that I didn't know how it works. You right click with a normal torch, you will get a living torch, and it will show you the boundaries, and I think it was somewhere right around here. You should see the particle effects. Yes, this is the range, and I would assume that is 100 blocks. The problem is, we still get mobs, I don't know, somewhere within the boundary? Cause you can say whatever you want, I don't think he walked the entire way. So let us go back to our dear friends. These guys. We cannot use a turret because unfortunately when these guys are hibernating, they don't take any damage. The chemical thrower is going to fire at them and it's going to waste the fuel, but it will have no effect. But here is the point, they only spawn on grass, and we do have a grass substitute in this mod pack, which is called turf. So in the areas that they spawn a lot and they are very irritating, we can just replace the grass, and that's it. The problem is that I don't know if you can plant anything on turf. No. It's okay. It is much better than seeing those stupid things every 3 seconds, so I'm not gonna complain. Yeah, I think for the moment, we should be fine. You can already see that they're spawning over there. And just as an update, we have already mined somewhere around 170,000 blocks, and this place, oh my goodness, has changed a lot. Did you spawn on turf? Aha, I think one of them is grass. Oh, these are grass. Anyways, this is not our main focus because we also need to gear up. We need to fight the Guardian of Gaia, the second tier, several times in order to get Gaia spirits, and in this armor, I'm garbage. I think in this armor, I will look cool. But before focusing on the armor, there are a few things that we want from Astral Sorcery. One of them is the Dynamism gems. Do we have Starlight? Not that much. I think it was just 1 rock crystal and 1 illumination powder, right? We have particle effects, so it should be correct. This is basically a game of luck, so the more we have, the better we're off. Anyways, let me craft a few items from Astral Sorcery and I'll be right back. Well, we do have a few gizmos, and you might also notice that I made an Irradiant Star because I want to reset my perks. Originally I started from Avites because I wanted to get extra hearts, but then I went towards Evorsio because I wanted 1 level of Fortune. But now that Fortune is no longer important for us, we're going to go towards Dissidia, because that will give us extra buffs when we're attacking. My light has shifted. Critical hit chance, that's not bad. We also get the empty gem socket, because why not? 2 to sweeping edge. I also harvested some of the gems, and these 2 don't seem to be that bad. I also got 1 of these, that's not bad. Gives us extra health. So let us get back to the armor, which seems to be actually a decent armor. We need something called a Termonite ingot, which apparently in order to make it we need something called an endstone smelter, and we need to just combine iron with ender dust. In order to make this special furnace we need something called thalassium ingot, and I think we have already found the ore. Yeah, we have like 42 of them. So here is the smelter. But here is where it gets a little bit complicated, because yes, you do need the ender dust, but it's the purified version, so we need blaze cake. And also I don't have that many ender pearls. It's fine, we have enough. I don't really remember how this thing used to work, but these are the ingredients for the blaze cake. Will you craft it? Okay. Good to know that you still work. And here is the ender dust. Oh, it does work. Okay, that's actually good. Oh, 1 blaze cake is enough in order to make 14 items? That's efficient. Roughly. Well, I think it kind of depends on how fast this guy is going to process things, right? Does it have to be blocks of coal? I'm confused. Yeah, it seems that it has to be blocks of coal. It's okay, we have plenty of coal. I thought I have a decent supply of ender pearls, but then I noticed that in order to make the anvil itself, we need a lot of blocks. It's okay, I'm going to gather 1 stack of ender pearls and that should cover us for a while. I would say that we are good for a very long time, but it is a fairly expensive process, so let us not mess it up. We need the Termonite chestplate. Also, 1 furnace is garbage, so we're going to have 1 more. And then we need to make an alloy of netherite and Termonite in order to get Aeternium, okay? We have 1. Ah. that was nice. So this gives me 9 armor, this gives me 8 armor, and it kind of looks nice. I hate the backpack. Well, it has been a while and we have 57 ingots. These furnaces are not the fastest thing in the world, but the way I understood everything, we need to make an anvil first. So there you go. And then after waiting another bajillion years in order to get 2 more ingots, we need to make 1 block of Aeternium, and we can just combine it in order to get the anvil. Okay. Also, it seems that in order to make the tool parts, we need some sort of a hammer, which I'm going to go with netherite. I want to make the blade and I'm a little bit confused. How would you know the difference? Because all of them have the same recipe. You just put a hammer with an ingot. Oh, you can choose. Okay. Then in that case, we are also going to have an axe and a shovel. This gets so confusing because sometimes you need to use the anvil, sometimes the smithing table, but apparently we also need a hilt, and we can just combine it with the blade in order to get the sword. This does 8.5 points of damage, this one does 8. But this one is fully upgraded. But in any case, now we come to the fun part of doing some enchantments. Oh, and by the way, I did manage to find 1 vitality enchantment, and if we put it on the chest plate, we should get more hearts. Don't really know how many, but I'm hoping a lot. Insight also gives me extra experience, so we're going to use it. For the rest of the enchantments, I'm going to use our Soul Enchanter from Eidolon because it's relatively cheap. Also, a few episodes ago, someone was asking me how do you put so many enchantments on your tools? That's the way, the Soul Enchanter. It's relatively cheap and you can choose what kind of enchantments you want. You just need 1 soul shard and a few levels of experience. Let us take a very small break from upgrading our tools and armor and gearing up and focus on some progression. By the way, the helmet is kind of a bummer. I was expecting some horns. We don't. But on a positive note, you get to see my beautiful eyes. Anyways, we need sulfuric acid and we need it for 2 reasons. One of them is to make hydrofluoric acid, which eventually is going to give us uranium hexafluoride, which eventually is going to give us fissile fuel. The other reason that we need sulfuric acid is that we need to quintuple uranium. We don't have access to that much uranium, so quintupling it actually makes sense, but also we need the uranium crystals in order to make uranonites. And I think just for symmetry purposes, because this is our entrance, we are going to set everything up over here. But do you notice a giant flaw in my plan? In order to make sulfuric acid, we need sulfur, and we have nothing. From crushing down blaze rods, we have like 3 of them, but that's not gonna cut it. We need tens of thousands. So it is time for the rise of Brian, the fluid, not the person. Thermal evaporation tower seems to be cheap, and that is very good. We should probably have a little bit more steel, just in case. Sometimes you get a brain fart. I forgot what I was supposed to make. Oh, hydrogen chloride. Yes, you would think that making a thermal evaporation tower only requires a few stacks of these thermal evaporation blocks, but no, when you want to go maximum size, which is 18 blocks high, you go through them really fast. 3 of them are going to be used in order to make Brian, the fluid, and not the person. So we have 3 sinks, and we just need to give them water. One more thing that they're going to need is heat. We cannot make solar panels in this mod pack, because this is the recipe. It's not going to happen. So instead we're going to go with 4 resistive heaters. And I never know what is the maximum amount of RF that I should give them. We're going to give them 2500. If it's not enough, we're going to give it more power, and if it's too much, we're going to reduce it. And I'm assuming we can take the heat from the top? Yes. Obviously none of them are working because we need to give them a controller, so there you go. And yes, that is plenty of Brian, the fluid. So I think 2500 is quite a bit. That filled up instantly. I am going to use one of the thermal evaporation towers in order to make lithium, so we need to connect the Brian to another thermal evaporation tower. Did I say Brian is a fluid? So a mechanical pipe, do you work? Yes. Oh, I forgot that they changed the color for lithium. Okay, but this is a definitive proof that Brian is a fluid, because if it was a person, we had to use a teleporter. Lithium is not very important at this very moment because we need the lithium in order to make the induction cells so that we can have a power bank. We are not generating that much RF, so having a power bank at this very moment doesn't really make sense, but at least we have the infrastructure for it. I'm missing a few items. We need 1 more valve because I miscalculated, and for making hydrogen chloride we need a chemical infuser, and I'm assuming it was 2 electrolytic separators. Oh, and by the way, while we are doing this, let us also install the storages. We were out of storage. Yes, we have more storage. As usual, the question is how do we want to do this so that it will look neat. The chemical infuser is going to be over there, chlorine has to be on the right side, so the top is going to be for input number 2. I'm assuming we can have our electrolytic separator up there, and the output number 2 is going to be to the bottom, so it should go inside our chemical infuser. The other electrolytic separator is going to give us hydrogen, and that is output number 1, and generally speaking I think we're done. Yeah, actually I have not messed it up. We're getting chlorine, we're getting hydrogen, and we're getting getting hydrogen chloride. The problem is that we're actually making it in very garbage quantities, which is something that we can solve very easily with a few upgrades. But you have to wait until the upgrades are applied. To that person who's going to make a comment about me applying the upgrades, hello, I already knew this. Don't you worry. So in this mod pack there is a very high chance that we need to have a sodium cooled reactor, so we cannot afford to dump the sodium. So for the moment I'm actually going to put it inside a tank. You know what? In this version of mechanism, a tube actually holds 16 million millibuckets. For comparison, a tank only holds 500,000. So I think instead I'm going to have a few pressurized tubes and then the tank on top. Also, we are going to have a quantum entangloporter with a dedicated channel for hydrogen chloride so that we can use the hydrogen chloride in other places in our base. Cause again, we need it for making gunpowder and we also need it for ore quintupling. And my dearest friend, can you make me 15,000 gunpowder? No. What if we add more CPUs? Yes, now you can. You know, that flame is working, but sometimes you get random mobs. I'm confused. Something is going through my entire power generation. Who is eating that much? Is it you? No, that's 8,000 RF. Oh, it's you. 80,000 RF. Holy, for the moment, we are not going to run until I fix my power issues. Our issue with power is one of those things which actually causes me to have a brain fart and then I will stop functioning for the next 3 or 4 hours. We're not going to do that. We're going to focus on what we have to do, and that is to make sulfuric acid. And we will deal with the power situation next episode because it requires a little bit of an infrastructure. So we have made hydrogen chloride so that we would be able to convert gunpowder into sulfur, which is something that can be achieved in a chemical injection chamber. So there you go. Also, we need to have a few channels over here, so I do have a cable. And since I want everything to be centered, I think the interface is going to go over there. So this should work. I think? Yes, we have it in our interface terminal, so it has been detected. Using our quantum entangloporter, we also provide it with hydrogen chloride, and just to make sure that we never run out of sulfur, we're also going to have a PRC. What the PRC does is that it's going to take a block of coal, oxygen and water, and it will give us 9 sulfur. So the PRC that we have over here is basically going to be our backup. It's just that PRCs are jerks and you kind of run out of sites. We need one site for water, we need one site for power, we need one site for oxygen, then I need one site for inputting and outputting item, and I'm hoping I can achieve this by using an interface. So if I ask the interface to extract 1 stack of coal blocks and give you a crafting card, will you do that? No. Well, I guess it's fine. We have to use an export bus in order to export blocks of coal, and then we need to import it back into our system. Like so. And as for the excess hydrogen that we're getting, we don't have a choice. The tank goes over there. It looks horrendous, but I don't know. We don't have any other sites. So you, my dear friend, are also going to get a pattern so that you can convert gunpowder into sulfur. And if I order, I don't know, 300 of it, will you start working? Yes. Very good. Actually, I'm not going to put 8 speed upgrades inside the PRC because this guy is going to work constantly and we don't want to run out of coal. Yeah, I would say that is a decent and safe amount. One more thing, the crushers are driving me mad. Maybe we should make them shut up. Well, if you cover everything, it doesn't look that bad. At least from here. We should definitely upgrade you to a higher tier factory and put you on auto sort. I will upgrade it further, but we are short on integrated circuits because I don't have any lapis left. We are not that short, we have 123, but the problem is, if you want to make a single quantum entangloporter, you're going to consume 12 of them. Well, actually with everything that we have done so far, making sulfuric acid was a breeze. Basically what we are doing is that we have a chemical oxidizer, we are providing it with sulfur dust, and we are getting sulfur dioxide. The sulfur dioxide goes inside a chemical infuser and we mix it with oxygen in order to get sulfur trioxide. And of course the sulfur trioxide goes inside another chemical infuser, we mix it with water vapor and we get sulfuric acid. And obviously I do have an electrolytic separator in order to get the oxygen we need in order to make sulfur trioxide, and a rotary condensator in order to get water vapor. I wanted to upgrade the machines and then I remembered I forgot the gas upgrade for our chemical injection factory. In this way this guy is going to use less hydrogen chloride per operation, which is incredibly good. I mean, considering how expensive it is for us. And of course for storing the sulfuric acid, we're just going to use a tube. You need 200,000 RF. Are you crazy? Definitely next episode we have to fix our power issues. But anyway guys, I think it's also a good time to wrap up the episode. Thank you so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed it. Till the next one, bye bye. Although something is confusing me. This is sulfur dioxide. This is sulfur trioxide. What happened to sulfur monoxide?